Hello everyone, welcome to Garage Rock the podcast, Good Things edition.
That's right.
Only good things. My name is Cam, and joining me as per usual is Uncle Sven. How are you?
I'm very good, Cam. I'm
Almost run out of breath there.
It was a long introduction.
Yeah.
I'm very well. How are you?
Good. We've been singing about 90s peanut butter commercials. So
As far as the listeners know, we haven't, but we have.
we have, haven't we? It's been Brill.
Absolutely. I'll tell you
And-
what else was Brill. Good Things Festival.
It was great, wasn't it? We had a great day. It was,
Yes.
It was a full-on packed-out day for us, though, wasn't it?
It was. And here's the thing, because we've done a number of festival reviews in the past.
How many numbers?
Oh, I've lost count, actually. 5, I think. Anyway.
I have the answer on my desk by Monday, please.
5, I think.
No, Monday. I don't want to know now.
But this is, we actually only got the end of the festival because we were there doing interviews the whole time.
Yeah, I've got to say it was very freaking well organised, wasn't
yes.
it? Because all the interviews were, crammed in the first
6 hours.
half of the day,
Yes.
yeah, which is brilliant. I mean, it was unfortunate we did miss a few bands, but obviously we're there to do a job, and I think we did it well. Check out all our interviews, which we'll talk about.
9 of them, Cam.
Nine interviews. We were busy bees, weren't we?
Most of those, the most interviews of anyone at the Melbourne leg of the festival.
Yep.
So yeah, it was fantastic. So so eat shit, everyone else. No, but it was fantastic. We'll talk about the interviews and also the artists we saw. Of course, you can always get in touch with us with our email address, which is garagerockpodcast@gmail.com, and our socials, Cam.
Yes, with the handle at Garage Rock Podcast. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, you guys.
But yeah, we had a fantastic day, and thank you to Dallas Does PR, who helped set up the interviews, and also Good Things Festival for having us.
Yeah.
And yeah, as I said, 9 interviews. So we got there, I think our first interview was around about like midday-ish, and we didn't actually get inside the festival area until about 6 p.m,
Yeah.
which means how many bands did we see? A total of 6. So
Yeah.
between us. So
But
I
I
don't know
got to
how this
see-
review's going to go. Well, I guess we'll see.
Well, we got to meet some really cool people.
Yes.
Why don't we start off with our first interview, which we did interview Ben from Slowly just over a year ago, and got
Yes.
to catch up with him again at Good Things. And what an absolute bloody legend, Steve.
Absolutely. Even nicer in person than he was over the phone.
Yeah. He was eating a mango, I think. Was it a mango? Some sort of fruit.
I don't know if he was eating some fruit.
He was eating some fruit, and we were trying to be, accommodating and looking for a plate. The best Steve could find was a jug behind the bar.
Like, there's a jug here. Will that do? And he's just like, it's fine.
You can put it on some of this paper. But no, he was an absolute legend, and it was a pleasure talking to him. It's really good to see those guys doing so well, Steve.
Oh, yeah. And they've been flat out, as you mentioned in the interview, since I released their Jellyfish single.
Yeah.
They've just been playing non-stop shows and then playing with the Chili Peppers.
Which was funny because we had Jellyfish stuck in our head all morning.
Oh, yes, we did.
And you're singing it just as Ben's walking up behind you. I'm like, Steve, not now, Steve, not now.
You're embarrassing me in front of the slowly guy. But yeah, no, he was fantastic and great to chat with, and unfortunately didn't catch his set. But they performed their new song with Beck Stevens as well, who joined them on stage.
Yeah, he said that they were, Beck Stevens was joining him for every Good Things gig, so obviously joined him on that, which was brilliant. I did see a video of it, so unfortunately we didn't get to see it live. But Steve,
Sometimes you've got to take the good things with the bad things.
that's it.
And the good thing was we got to interview Ben.
It was a really cool area. Most of the time when we do interviews, it's in a tent or whatever. They've done a makeshift media area. This was actually done in the grandstand for Flemington Racecourse, overlooking the racecourse.
Yeah.
It was very suave, wasn't it, Steve?
Yeah, it was very good.
It was comfortable. Like
It
I
was.
wasn't tired after it. We had somewhere to sit.
Yep.
Had nice water and a few chips.
You're really overselling it there.
Yeah, we bought them.
Yeah, that's true. As cool as it was overlooking the finishing post at Flemington Racecourse.
Yep.
Like, we were there for Download Festival, same venue last year, but we were actually behind the stage.
Yeah, so you could come and go as you pleased.
Which was convenient. Like, you
Yep.
could just pop out and see half of Limp Bizkit and then
Yeah.
go back in if you had an interview, which was kind of cool, which we couldn't do this time. But the thing is, if there's any loud noises, which happens when you're backstage at a festival, you've got the droning of the guitars and the drums, and you're trying to do an interview, and you're sitting virtually on a couch next to someone, and you're talking to them like this, when they're right next to you because it's so loud.
So true, yeah.
This wasn't the case because we were in our own little private area, which is cool. The downside was...
We were in the next suburb.
Kind of. It was a 15-minute walk from the media area to the thing. And I think the biggest gap we had between interviews was a half hour. So you walk 15 minutes to catch, I don't know, grab a drink, and then you just walk back.
It wouldn't work out, but it was very well set up and a lot more comfortable. So I'm very grateful for that. But Steve, your first interview was Enter Shikari, all the way from England.
Yes, Chris and Rob from Enter Shikari, and they were fantastic. They were just really chill guys. They were really cool, great to chat with. And we had a chat about their recent single, Stop the Clocks. And they're talking about releasing some new music soon. And they're in the recording studio at the moment. They took some time out to come to Good Things. Again, unfortunately, didn't get to see their performance, but all reports was that they were really, really good, and that the new song went really well as well. So they also played the night before in Melbourne, their first time in Australia for about 3 years, I think. So they had a really good reception. So unfortunately, didn't see them, but Enter Shikari, they were really great, nice guys, just really nice guys.
They were the top blokes, and make sure you check out that interview because you'll be able to hear all things Enter Shikari.
That's it, and we're going to say that another 7 more times. Make sure you check out the interview.
I was thinking that. I'm going to say that after every single one because next we spoke to Chuck and Jeff.
Yes.
Where are they from, Steve?
Simple Plan.
Simple Plan.
Oh, yes. And they were 4th on the bill.
Yeah, that was it. We had a great chat about, I think I said in the interview, I could have chatted to them for another hour or so.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, with these things are time permitting. So
exactly.
And other people want to talk to them, and it's totally understandable.
No, fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them. We should have the whole time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't they know who we think we are?
Yeah. No, we understand. But talking to those guys, it was interesting how they were talking about Melbourne's coffee, how they love the coffee here.
Yeah.
And I have had coffee in other countries, I haven't been to Canada, which is where they're from, but I have been to America, and the coffee's absolutely terrible.
It's shocking.
Absolutely terrible. So,
American coffee's awful.
Yeah, it's like watered down chimpanzee shit. I don't know.
What do you mean watered down?
It's more tingly than hot.
But they were talking about moving to Melbourne because the coffee's better than in Montreal. So if that's, sure, come over. Why not? We'll have them.
It was really cool for me to talk to those guys as well, Steve, because I've been a fan of them since I was a little tacker.
You still are.
Teenager.
Yeah.
Teenager, yeah. Well, when I was a teenager, I was 2 foot shorter. Didn't grow till I was 20. But
I remember that, actually, yeah. But no, they were really nice guys. And the thing is, actually, because we have time limits, as you mentioned, and we kept getting the Wind It Up single.
Yeah, we got to wrap it up. Yeah, it was the Academy Awards music was starting to,
exactly.
to play.
But they just kept on powering through. They were really talkative, which is great.
Do you know what I noticed about those guys is they're very, very well spoken. They very confident and straight to the point.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, not straight to the point. Well, they're straight to the point in what they're saying, but
yes,
I don't know. They just talk differently to us. It's just more confident. And
that North American confidence, perhaps.
Yeah.
And also, they've been doing media interviews for how many years now?
That's it. They've probably heard all the same questions over and over. It's like, how am I going to answer this one?
I tell you what, I really love the coffee here in Wellington. Going to move to Wellington and get some coffee.
Yeah. Looks at the back of his guitar. The coffee here in Melbourne.
That's fantastic. So anyway, go and check out that interview.
Yeah. And what other interview have we got, Steve?
I had a chat with Alex, Ash and Scott from Voyager, Perth Rockers Voyager. And really nice guys. They'd been stocking up on the G&Ts.
Yes.
And their freak sunglasses. And and they were going upstairs to get free tattoos, which we were even contemplating going up and getting free tattoos.
And Steve turns around to me and goes, "Would you get one?" And I sort of paused And we're like, what would we get? Nah.
Oh, I was thinking, I've got time to get a sleeve. Surely, I don't know how long that takes.
Yeah, it's like a $1,000 sleeve I just got for free.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter if it's of your mum, but
I got a sleeve of Cam's mum. Is that what you said? No.
Yeah, I was talking as if you were talking, wasn't I? So that means it was of my mum.
Yes.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Moving on. So the guys at Voyager, no, they were really cool. And we were chatting about their new album and also the video for their song Bright Star, and they even said, like, a lot of hard rock and metal bands, the video clips, you just associate them with filming in mountains or forests. But they filmed it sort of in Western Australia in the desert near some satellite dishes. And
it looks cool.
It looks really cool and it's different. And like they're covered in the brown dirt. It's kind of like they're in an In Excess video clip. But it was actually a really cool clip, and it was good to talk to them about that. So definitely check out Voyager if you haven't, because really good stuff.
Yeah, and while you're there, check out the interview as well
Yes.
with Voyager there. It's up on our podcast, Garage Rock.
5 interviews to go.
Write that down. Next was the Bennies. I got the pleasure of interviewing Antti and Snez from the Bennies, and absolute bloody legends. Like,
yes.
When they came in, they both come up, gave us hugs.
That's
like,
right.
Huggers.
Yep.
Awesome. Love it. Felt right at home straight away. Like it's when you do an interview and it's just you break the ice and it's just you instantly felt comfortable with those guys and they're just really nice, talking about their new song Green Mitsubishi,
yes.
which I thought was it's about their first car or something. No, it's about an ecstasy tablet.
Dropping tabs.
Yeah.
I actually interviewed Antti it was a couple of interviews after the Slowly one, so it was about a year ago.
Right.
And they were preparing to release Green Mitsubishis.
That's
and
right,
I asked the same thing. I was just like, that's a really cool, interesting. Where did you get the title from? And he's just like, it was an ecstasy tablet. I'm like, yeah, of course it was. Of course it was. Don't I look like a bit of a plain dick? But yeah, no, they're fantastic. And also, because around that time, they just lost Craig, who's the bass player who's gone across to the band Loser.
Which is one of your favourite bands at the moment.
Yeah. And DJ Sness, who you chatted with at Good Things, he just joined the band as well. So it's good to see how they've gone a year later. And actually, I don't know if you noticed, because we went to the band area after we did the interviews.
Yeah, we went upstairs and they were up there rolling joints.
Exactly. And Sness was like, how's it going, guys? How are you guys doing? This is like really cool. And their guitarist was absolutely mellowed out. He was in a good place. He was in a good place. He was just in the rhythm of rolling. Yeah. And he was done for the day, and he was having a good time. But yeah, he was definitely chilled. Anyway, go check that interview out.
Yeah, that's the Bennies.
That's the Bennies. And then you had back-to-back, you literally had back-to-back interviews. You just ripped one sheet off of questions and then went to the next one, which was the guys from Real Big Fish.
Yeah, they were waiting for me to finish.
Oh, that's right.
The Bennies, so I had
I thought you were going to say they were wasted.
Yeah, well probably were. Yeah, well, like I said in the interview, they're a beer drinking band, so it just fits. It was cool to catch up with Real Big Fish again.
Yes,
which we caught up with them in the Warp Tour
2013.
I can't remember if it was 13 or 15, but anyway,
it ended with a teen.
Doesn't matter.
Kind of like one of Prince Andrew's nights. Moving on.
She was only 15.
Anyway, go check out that interview. But Real Big Fish, I mean, these guys are legends, ska punk legends.
Oh, mate, almost 30 years in the making of this band, and it was really funny meeting those guys as well, because they're just funny.
Yeah.
They're just genuinely funny, and maybe a little bit drunk because they'd played and maybe had a few beers, like we said. Mm-hmm. And
they're a beer drinking band.
They're a beer drinking band, and they were ready to go. Their flight was soon. They were going to Sydney.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah,
they were on their way to their flight, so they were primed for that.
Exactly. Anyway, go check that interview out.
Check that interview out.
That was Real Big Fish, and after Real Big Fish, Ice Nine Kills Cam.
Oh, Spencer, he was a legend, wasn't he?
Such a nice guy. For a guy who had like kill written in blood on his neck, and he had like the eye makeup,
red
and
eye
everything.
makeup under the
and
eyes.
He looks a very intimidating person. I mean, Ice Nine Kills, for those who don't know, like their last album, The Silver Scream, all of the songs were based on different horror movies.
Absolutely brilliantly done.
Yeah, and like they dress as like different horror icons on stage, and it's a very intense show. A bit of blood and gore, nothing wrong with that if you're into it. And then he comes across and he's a very mild-mannered guy and just really nice to chat with. And he made the rounds. I think he chatted with every media outlet, or virtually all of them, and he had plenty of time for everyone.
Yeah.
I reckon he was there the longest of anyone in the media.
I think he did do the whole rounds. It is their first time in Australia, so they're obviously wanting to promote themselves as much as possible, and a very avid Silverchair fan.
Absolutely,
Spoke about Silverchair for a bit, which is great.
Yeah, he loves Silverchair, and it was one of the first bands that he saw, and first cover band that he was in. They played Silverchair as well.
Yeah, Tomorrow, that's right.
Yeah, so it's really cool, but he had plenty of time. There was no rushing as well. He was happy to sit with everyone for a good 10 minutes, have a chat. We had a chat with him before and afterwards as well.
Yeah, it was very relaxed, and he was very well spoken.
Yeah.
I looked him up. He's the same age as us.
Really?
I'm like, all those horror movies are the horror movies that I loved as a kid.
Yeah.
And the ones that he was talking about. So I looked him up. I'm like, I bet you he's the same age as us, and he is.
Yeah.
Yep.
What have we done in our lives?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, he's been to Australia as many times as we have. So anyway, go check that interview out. That was with Spencer from Ice Nine Kills. Now, speaking of legends, Cam, speaking of tall people who are softly spoken, you had a chat with Drew from Carnival.
Yeah, what a legend he was.
Oh, yes.
Talking about Perth legend musicians.
Yes.
It's just something in the soil in the water, in the soil. I don't know. But Carnival, Drew, he was an interesting character to interview, like genuinely enthralled by what he had to say.
Yeah.
Especially all the stuff about India. Check out the interviews
and
for more details. But it's good to see Carnival, really rocking out this year. You've seen them in at Unify gathering earlier this year, and then obviously at Good Things this year, and we did actually get to catch their set.
Yes.
Not the whole lot, unfortunately.
I caught the majority of it, yeah.
You caught the majority because we'll get into that after. But, Drew was a legend. I haven't listened to the interview back yet, but I want to listen to that again.
Yeah, no, he was a really nice guy and quite in-depth, and like I said, softly spoken, but...
Deep voice.
Yes, and I think... In all, and I don't want to sort of get all self-indulgent here, but I think that you did a really good job with the interview, that he was quite interested in what you had to say. You were asking about, like as you mentioned, the Perth bands and going into detail about that, and he could see that you were interested, and then he was interested because you were interested.
Yeah.
There was a bit of a connection there, which was great. And
it is a fine line sometimes, isn't it, Steve, doing these interviews, because you don't want to ask the same old questions, but you don't want to be too avant-garde.
Yes. Or just ask irrelevant questions and sound like a complete punce.
Yeah, you don't want to make a mockery of the thing, because believe it or not, Steve and I are actually genuinely interested in these people. We want to know this stuff. Like, why the fuck not?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So go check that interview out. And our final interview, and... I'm going to be honest, I listened back to this and I was fanboying hard through this one.
You did, but that's fine.
That's fine.
I reckon
I was gushing.
I reckon that was probably interview of the day.
Interview of the day. This is with James and Luke from Violent Soho.
Yeah, legends.
And they were just really nice guys to just chat with.
I felt like I know you've met them before and everything, but I felt like I've known them forever.
Yeah.
Like they're that kind of people that you just feel comfortable straight away. And
yeah, they're very chilled. I mentioned in the interview, which you can go and check out if you'd like to listen to it, I met them backstage at the Arias a couple of years ago, and they were just the nicest guys because they just won for Best Rock Album. And I was like, I'm going up and saying something to them because I fucking loved their album Waco. I was like, got to tell them how much I love it. And I went up to them and I said, look, I just have to tell you, I love this album. And they were like, thank you so much. And I was just like, no, thank you. It's an awesome album. And it's like, it was kind of humbling that they weren't just all like, oh yeah, whatever. And so when I chatted with them and I told them about it, because I wouldn't expect them to remember that, because they were mainly hammered. But I told them about that, and they were like, "Oh, thank you!" Like again.
Yeah, they were genuinely grateful.
Exactly. And then I got choked up a bit, and
that's right. Oh, I almost lost it. Did that make the cut of the interview?
Yeah, it did make the cut.
Steve's voice cracked or my voice choked up in the interview, and a bit of a joke. Oh,
he said, "Oh, he's choking up," and then I said, "Oh, don't worry. Later, I'm going to go and choke something else." And the thing is, because I said that without even thinking, and I was just like, shit, how's that going to play? I heard you pissing yourself behind me.
I lost it.
And
it was brilliant.
They
were laughing too.
Luke laughed, but James gave me this look of, what the fuck did you just say? It was kind of this puzzled look like, did you just fart? Yeah. It was like a kind of look I got from him, and I thought, oh shit. But then Luke started laughing. I was just like, oh, thank Christ for that.
It came out of you. Like, came out of you just too naturally. I'm going to choke it later.
Yeah.
But Luke, When they come up, and I'm wearing my Blink-182 hat that I got from America when I went and saw Blink-182. I don't know if I mentioned it.
Once or twice.
And he proceeded to tell us on he's seen every Blink lineup that's ever been.
Yes.
And all the tours that he's gone to since day dot. So it was awesome to hear about it.
Yeah, he even said as soon as Matt Skiba joined the band, he booked tickets to fly to Seattle to see them.
Yeah, they went there to so that would have been the California tour, I guess.
Probably. And then he even he met Mark Hoppus. That was like, because it was on the first day of the tour. They were like, oh, I hope we get to bump into Mark Hoppus. And they were actually, their backstage area was next to Simple Creatures.
I said to him, can I come with you? And he's like, oh, you can try. I'm like, oh, hopefully you get to meet Mark Hoppus. And then
the next day
we saw the photo of him with Mark Hoppus. So well done. That's bloody brilliant.
Congratulations, James. And if you're there, have a listen to the interview.
Yeah. Which they did say they listened to the podcast.
Jeez. I tell you what, I literally did choke it that night. So it's fantastic. So if you are listening again, James and Luke from Violent Soho, thank you for listening.
Thank you. And thanks for all those interviews, and thanks to Janine at Dallas Does PR for all those interviews.
Thank you very much.
We're ever so grateful. But Steve, after all those interviews, we decided to pack up and shoot on down and see some bands.
Yes.
And it was a beautiful day, perfect festival weather.
Absolutely.
The sun was out. It was just wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. It wasn't hot like last year. It was 40 degrees, and the misting tents were like sardine. Everyone was packed in like sardines.
Actually, it was interesting because we kind of bagged you about. You fell asleep at Good Things last year. You at one stage
I did, but we found out I wasn't the only mofo doing that.
We were doing interviews next to Higo from Triple M and Distortion,
which we got to talk to Higo a fair bit that day. Yeah. He was set up next to us, which was really cool, and he was a good bloke.
Yeah, top bloke. Thanks for that, Higo. And he was telling us that he at one stage last year, due to the heat, decided he'd have a kip as well.
He had a nap on the grass as well. I'm like, well, maybe I'll nap next to him or something, because I did the same thing. And you know what? I felt good that I wasn't the only one that did that. And then we're talking about the misting tents and how you're walking through it, and it's, you're all sticky and sweaty, but you don't care. It's just such a relief. Just so good.
Yeah.
But this year the weather was perfect. Like if every festival could be like that, would be brilliant. And the sun was sort of, starting to go down when we went down there, so it had that summery vibe and all that. And Simple Plan were playing.
Exactly.
We had to catch the end of Simple Plan.
That's right.
While Simple Plan were playing,
yes,
because we didn't really eat. Like we had a few shapes, some lollies.
Yes, we had some lollies.
Steve fed me for the day, basically. I'm like, I haven't had lunch and it's dinner time and I'm quite hungry, so I went around to all the food trucks and went to the shortest line, which was the loaded fries truck. I'm like, I could go with some fries with some beef and whatever the other shit's on it. Anyway, half an hour later, I'm still waiting.
Jesus.
No, it wasn't that long, but it was a while. But they were the best loaded fries I've ever had.
Fantastic. Festival food.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Like, better than the old corn in the cobs that you used to fucking hollow out and root. But
well, if you just interviewed Violent Soho, you'd do the same.
Sorry for that corny joke, but
oh Jesus!
Yeah, listening to Simple Plan in the background, and then watching them. Caught up with me mates from work, and Simple Plan finished. So then, you know what time it was for then, Steve?
Tool time.
Yeah, Tim the Tool Man, Taylor.
Sorry, you were already with your co-workers.
Hey, I found a credit card the other day.
Yeah.
And while I was at work, and it was across the road from Moorabbin Police Station, so I'll go drop it off after the job. So I went there.
Very noble of you.
Yeah, took the credit card in and said, hey, I found this credit card, thought I'd hand it in. And it took every ounce of my energy not to say anything, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
But I looked at the police name badge and it was Tim Taylor. Took every ounce of my energy to say, does everyone know what time it is?
That guy must have had that so much. And then Constable Al Borland walked in.
He's like, you need to fill out this form. And I'm like, I don't think so, Tim. No. I held back,
Jesus.
Steve. I held back and did my thing and left.
Actually, I did a music festival at Moonee Valley Raceway, and we were actually in the similar sort of grandstand, and I found $350 on the ground. I picked that up, and I'm
finding a bag of Coke.
and I took it to the police because I don't know why. Everyone was saying just keep it. I took it to the police, and I wrote up a thing, and no one claimed it within 6 months, so I got to keep it.
Oh, you got to keep it.
They gave it to me. So
now that is integrity, Steve. That is honesty. Well done.
Exactly.
I was expecting them to go sucker and then split it up between them.
Yeah, roll it up and snort some Coke. Now,
Violent Soho, Steve.
Yes, Violent Soho. The triumphant return of Violent Soho, I might add.
Yeah, their first gig in a while, and they smashed it.
Absolutely, out of the park. And I had a fantastic time. I was there, and it was one of those things where the circle pit kept getting bigger and bigger till eventually I was in it. And I thought,
fuck yeah.
Hell fuck yeah, Cam. And I was wondering, because I was like, I'm not going to go in too hard because, I'm going to follow Cam's lead and not be a fucking maniac and just go bumping into people. But the pit kept opening up and getting bigger and bigger. And then when it came to Covered in Chrome at the end of their set, of course I was in there.
Yeah.
And so it was fun. It was good. And the crowd was just that. I reckon when the band heard that first hell fuck yeah come back at them, they were like, right, we're good. We're good. So it was a fantastic show. One
of my favourite parts of the set was Dope Calypso.
Oh, yeah.
I just love that song in general.
Yep.
And they started playing that, I'm like, oh, this is on.
Yes.
And my mates kept coming up to me and they're like, oh, I'm so jealous of you. You look so clean and together. They're all wasted and dirty and asking me to be on the top of a 3-stacker of shoulders. And they're all talking about doing 3-stackers and stuff, and this really big, like, red-headed bloke with a red mow. It wasn't you.
I was going to say.
He's walking past, and it was like he found his moment. He's like, are you guys doing 3-stackers? Are you guys doing 3-stackers? He's like, I'll go on the bottom. I'm like, I'm turning around, and everyone's like, Cam, you're going on top because you're the smallest. I'm like, yous are all wasted. We're standing on concrete. Because right where the road was.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going up there, no way.
God. Takes me back to landing on the concrete at Download Festival after deciding to crowd surf and then landing on my coccyx. Anyway.
That's right. And then my mate comes up and he's wasted. He's like, oh, I love Violent Sorority House. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I love drugs. Anyway.
But they were freaking awesome, Steve.
Oh, absolutely. And one of my favourite songs off their last album is probably the single Like Soda, and then another track called Evergreen, and they were the first two songs they played. Yep. I was just like, bang, this is on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. Great set.
Everyone was singing along like crazy to Like Soda as well. Yeah, it was
exactly.
awesome.
Yeah, the crowd was really getting into it, and so it was good that after a break, because sometimes coming back from a break, it can be a bit, you don't know how the crowd's going to go.
Yeah, exactly.
But it went really, really well. And, so that was it. Violent Soho.
Good to see him and want to see plenty more of him.
It was definitely a day to remember.
Oh, which was next, Steve?
Yes.
And they started off
doing your puns. Stepping on your turf.
Pun intended.
Yeah, absolutely.
A day to remember, come on, Steve. They started off with Downfall of Us All. was brilliant.
I was passing the food trucks and I could hear da 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 da. I was like, I bet Cam's in there right now.
Let's go. Yeah. What can I say? Just like when we saw him last time, they're just fucking brilliant live.
Yep.
I don't know, hardcore bands and that, like, as far as they go, like, I reckon, Data Remember, just, they got to be up there, Steve. They just sound freaking brilliant live.
It's always a bit hit and miss with hardcore performing live, I've found, because I've seen quite a few hardcore bands over the years, and some sound fantastic on a record.
Yeah.
But actually pulling it off live, it can be they just go too hard.
It's bloody hard music to play, Steve. Like,
exactly.
If you're a metal drummer, you're a fucking good drummer.
Exactly.
You're a metal guitarist, you're a fucking good guitarist.
Exactly. And I think that one of the things is they get too swept up in it and they go too hardcore to the fact where it just becomes a bit of a mess, the sound. Whereas A Day to Remember are quite tight with the way that they perform.
Yeah.
That it sounds just as crisp as it does on the record.
And they did the crowd surfing on a crowd surfer.
Oh, fantastic.
Surfing on a crowd surfer.
Yep.
So, yeah, someone crowd surfs, lying down while someone stands on top of them.
Yep.
Surfing.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Saw a few people do it. It's great. And I'm like, God, that's got to hurt. I'm glad I'm standing back here all clean.
Exactly.
Make sure you check out their interview that we didn't do. Now, Steve, up next. Now, you caught
actually at the same time.
At the same time, you caught most of their set. I caught their last song, Carnival.
Yes, I ventured over to stage 3. Or was it 4? Doesn't matter. They were right next to each other. 4, I think,
yep,
yes.
It was 4.
And yeah, caught Carnival. Talking about tight bands. I mean, considering how complex their songs are, time signature-wise, and just the change in tempos. And
there's a bit to it.
Exactly.
There's a bit to their songs.
They're so tight. It's the second time I've seen them this year, and it's just phenomenal how good they are live.
Yeah, they don't disappoint, do they?
Absolutely not. And the crowd was going into it. I thought, I wonder what the crowd size will be. But they had a pretty decent crowd, if I'm being honest.
A Data Remember's playing at the same time, and they're an American band, so
True.
A lot of people lean towards the international guests because you don't get to see them as often.
That's true, but there was still quite a good showing of people there, and they were all getting into it, and yeah, they didn't disappoint. Ian Kenny,
and our
mate
his
Drew.
voice, his voice just kills me. I'd kill to have a voice like that.
Yeah,
that's just brilliant.
Well, you got a face like him.
Face like a slapped ass. Remember that time I got mistaken?
I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Oh.
I got mistaken.
Yeah, someone mistaken you.
Super massive best friends.
Super best friends.
Super best friends. Super massive black hole friends.
Yes. Super
massive black hole friends.
Yes.
Mistaken me for Ian Kenny.
When you were mistaken, yes.
We had the same hair and beard at the time. And well, that was a compliment. Too bad I'm about 3 foot shorter than him. But anyway, Steve,
moving on.
I'm just a simple creature, really, aren't I?
Of habit, yes.
Which is who we saw next. Simple Creatures, Mark Hoppus and Alex Gaskarth.
Yes.
Freaking Steve.
Yep.
I want to know what you think.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to say what I think first. Let's go with the positive.
No, let's start with the negatives. I thought it was all right. I wasn't blown away, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
They didn't have any. The stage. It was just the two of them. It was very simple. They were simple creatures. I don't know. It just didn't do much for me, if I'm being honest, which I think that we should be on this show.
No, definitely. I'm pretty open to the whole poppy kind of thing. I don't know, it just gets me and I'd like to drum along to it. But I wasn't expecting much. I went in thinking I'm not expecting much. And I was blown away a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a lot more fun and I responded to it better than what I thought. And I actually enjoyed the whole set. Like it wasn't a task. It wasn't a mission. I was standing there enjoying it, and typical Mark Hoppus humor in between songs was brilliant. You know,
yeah. He actually got booed. Because it was
the koalas.
Yeah, well, he told everyone to because he is. It's like, you guys hate Sydney because we're Melbourne, and so typical answer is Yes. Yeah. Yeah. What's it to you?
The fires.
And then he was just like, let's have a round of applause for New South Wales and the fires at the moment. And everyone clapped and, good on the bushfire fighters and everything. And it is a fucking tragedy what is going on up there at the moment. It's, absolutely. And then he just, after everyone clapped, he's just like, but fuck the koalas. And then fuck the koalas, we don't need it. And then everyone just started booing him.
You know how much I love the shock factor joke, Steve. It's right up my alley.
You were laughing, but a lot of people were booing, like, boo. And he's just like, hey. Any animal that has chlamydia should be killed. And everyone just kept booing. And then he said, and then he had to go at Winnie the Pooh, because he's just like, Winnie the Pooh must have chlamydia as well. And it was like, you know how Eeyore's tail fell off? Hard fucking. That's it.
What about after a song he goes, for those who don't know me, I'm Mark Hoppus. I'm from Plus 44.
That's right.
Not Blink-182, which is funny. That's why it's funny, Steve.
You want to explain the nuance?
What about when he asked it? Does anyone want to ask Alex a question? Someone yelled out, "Where's Tom DeLonge?"
Exactly. But I wanted to know.
Yeah, where is Tom DeLonge?
Where is Tom DeLonge? No.
He's with the aliens, man.
Yeah. But no, I'm glad you enjoyed them. But our headliners, and they brought the fire and the fury, Cam.
Oh no, it was literally like walking into hell when you saw them with all the fire and fury.
Yeah, light up a Molotov. It was Parkway Drive headlining, and man, a lot of energy, and the crowd were getting into that.
Yeah, it was like everybody was there, weren't they?
Oh yeah.
I mean, by that time, obviously, Simple Creatures finished. All those people went down there Parkway, but Parkway was just going off, wasn't it? Yeah. We stood there and watched the end of their set, and you can see why they're doing a national arena tour.
Exactly.
Now.
And I was having a chat with you about this and thinking, like, who are the biggest Australian artists sort of going around at the moment?
Parkway's up there. They're huge.
Absolutely up there.
Huge following.
So that was a fantastic day, and Parkway were a fantastic way to end at Winston and Friends. Just had a massive time on stage.
Do you reckon that's what they'll be called when they're all old and got kids and they're going down the Sesame Street route?
Yes, because the natural progression for a metal band is to go down the children's
it's
music.
Time for Winston and Friends. I break it down. Oh, that's Yo Gabba Gabba. I stole that already.
Oh wow!
Oh no, that was cool.
That was Good Things 2019. Did we have a good time, Cam?
Steve, it's one of the best days I've had in ages. Like, it just worked out perfect. I had so much fun hanging out backstage with Higo and all the boys in the bands.
Yeah.
Oh, you were there, yeah. Oh, I forgot about you.
A couple of times.
Yeah, you had some lollies.
Yeah,
you were good for something.
But this is the second Good Things Festival. So, I mean, it's backed up pretty well. And, I mean, you'd have to say that there'll be a third. And it's only going to grow from here.
No, I reckon it's brilliant too. And the diversity of the lineup as well, Steve, which I was talking about with Chuck and Jeff from Simple Plan.
Go listen to the interview.
Go listen to the interview. How they're in between, on the post, they're in between a Day to Remember and Trivium. Like, you would not have seen that 10 years ago.
With the Veronicas as well.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So I'm looking forward to next year. I think it's going to keep coming back.
Absolutely, and I think it's filling a hole. I mean, we don't have...
We've lost Soundwave and Big Day Out.
Exactly.
This is our Soundwave and Big Day Out fixes now.
Exactly. So that was our Good Things review for 2019. Thank you for listening if you've made it this far. Check out our interviews. Have we mentioned that?
Just in case you missed it, we did 9 interviews, which we're very grateful for. Make sure you check all those bad boys out.
And this is going to be our second last episode of the year. We've got our season finale will be coming up shortly. We'll still be doing interviews as they pop up.
We will, yes.
And but in the meantime, season 2 will be coming to an end very soon. So we'll be back in the new year.
What was our question? Maybe we can just plug it a little bit now.
Our question has changed. It's going to be, what was your favourite music release of 2019?
Favourite music release of 2019. Now, Steve, be interesting to see. But that's it for the Good Things Festival wrap-up.
Yes.
I hope everybody enjoyed it.
Hope everyone had a very nice time.
I've been Cameroni Nose.
And I've been Steve. Thanks for listening. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.